Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit will focus on issues ranging from global security to multilateral economic cooperation. Victor Gao is a Chinese international relations expert and current affairs commentator. We're delighted to have you in the studio. Normally we talk quite a distance from one another. This started with just a handful of countries. It's certainly grown. It's referred to now as the Alliance of the East. Pakistan and India have recently joined. How has the SCO changed over the time from its inception back in the late 90s to today, do you think?
Well, I think SCO is becoming more and more important as a regional organization. Yes, indeed, both India and Pakistan have now become full members, and Iran is still an observer, for example, for this organization. It started with anti-terrorism very much at the core of its mission, but now I think it's expanded its mission to a much broader scope, including, for example, security coordination and making sure that this region remains a stable place for all the member states. And I think in this regard, this organization is becoming more important given the fact that there are great turmoils in many parts of the world, and countries like China and Russia are committed to working closely with each other and other members of the SCO to make sure that they are free from such turmoils and disturbance from other major countries in the world, and they want to be really sticking to stability and development in this part of the world.
Multilateralism versus what you're seeing here in the United States, protectionism, is there going to be a statement about that, do you think, in a sense?
I hope so. I think for this region, especially in Central Asia, but now also in South Asia, development is still the key challenge. And in order to develop, you need to have stability. And one threat to stability is terrorism. And of course, extremism and separatism also remain major threats to peace and stability. So I think member states in this part of the world are united in their realization of the urgency to deal with these challenges, and also committed to working together. And this is very important, working together, because many of these menaces are actually cross-boundary. They move from one country to another, posing threat to many countries at the same time. Therefore, as you mentioned, multilateralism is the key to addressing many of these challenges.
Kyrgyzstan, one of the first countries to really embrace the Belt and Road Initiative. It's key through this avenue of the world. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about this relationship between Kyrgyzstan and China. President Xi, of course, there for a state visit. He's going to give a speech. Your sense of how that relationship is blossomed.
Kyrgyzstan is a landlocked country, and before the One Belt, One Road Initiative, and before the establishment of SCO, for example, Kyrgyzstan is very much isolated. But now, all of a sudden, Kyrgyzstan is in the middle, is becoming a hub of this trans-Eurasian infrastructure hub, because it is really just in the middle of this corridor from the East Asia all the way to West Europe. And all of a sudden you realize that there are many infrastructure projects involving Kyrgyzstan which can not only be done, but also done efficiently with lower cost. And I think this will really emancipate lots of productivity in Kyrgyzstan and bring real benefits to the people in Kyrgyzstan. And I think, like other countries like Kazakhstan, for example, these countries are landlocked countries, as I mentioned, in the middle of the Eurasian landmass, but all of a sudden they find this One Belt, One Road initiative going through their landmass, linking different parts of the Eurasian landmass and becoming a hub rather than an isolated corner in this huge landmass.
Victor Gao, pleasure having you in the studio. Safe travels back to China. Great to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.